Jamie, that might have been one of the dumbest things we've ever made.
Yeah, I can't believe I get paid for this.
Yeah.
I'm an artist.
I paid you to make this, and we made that with it.
Yeah, I never expected to roll one of my products into a toilet 6 times.
Yes. Thank you, Big Fred Customs, for the files. These are from him. Go check them out. But we're going to talk about making a Helldiver costume.
A what?
Yeah. Could you imagine? Look at this. And
You look incredible.
I am comfy. too.
Wow, yeah,
Like,
probably a little bit warm.
I took my gloves off and the helmet off because I was getting warm.
But, like,
this
this
is a
is-
super comfy kit.
One of the comfiest I've ever seen.
I am sitting down on my butt.
Which, for anyone that doesn't know, that is impossible usually.
Uh huh. I feel like I could go to the bathroom myself,
Wow.
all by myself, like a big boy too.
Watch it here. So this was a big project, and this is actually a project that we brought in the whole team at Galactic Armory to get
Yeah.
involved in.
Uses a combination of a lot of different materials.
A lot of different skill sets, and yeah.
And we've got it all on display here, and we're gonna tell you all about it. This might be a little bit of a longer video, so we're gonna go into extreme detail
Yeah.
on every part so that this could be a good reference for you guys down the road. So all the 3D printed parts were printed on our Bamboo Lab X1 Carbon 3D printers at 0.16 layer height, so very nice
Yeah,
details.
really smooth.
They were printed in Polymaker Cos PLA, which is the more sandable version,
Version A.
version A,
Yeah.
of their Cos PLA blend.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Really sandable, really great to work with, more durable
Yeah.
than normal PLA. We really recommend them.
It's super hard to get it right now though.
Yeah.
So find it if you can, otherwise normal PLA or PLA Plus will work just as well. But the first thing we've got to do is kind of glue some of the pieces together. We had to cut them up to print them on our X1 Carbons.
Yeah, they have a smaller build plate, and these are some big chunky pieces.
Yeah.
So they require a little bit of welding and glue to get all those pieces
But
together.
honestly, it's worth it. I'd rather work on cut up pieces on a X1 Carbon than a full piece
Yeah.
on a CR10 or something like that.
That really says a lot. It's the sheer amount of quality that you get from these prints make it all worth it, which is super important because that is what all of our DIY kits are sold in.
Thank you, Jamie, for the shilling. Yes, that's what we're printing all of our armor kits like this yourself. So check out the links in the description if you want to follow along with the build. It's the exact same kit that I'm wearing right now.
That's it. We are wearing it, and that is what we want you to receive.
And we got a lot of Cos PLA on stock, at least for a while. So we'll
see.
see.
So, what is the attachment process? Our fans at home might be getting a DIY kit themselves. What is the process of attaching these parts?
We got a few couple things, like on the shins, we use some metal rods to connect the two pieces, just kind of as a reinforcement bar.
And guide the two pieces together, right?
Otherwise, it's just CA super glue and activator.
Yeah,
One
the
of
activator really helps.
best combos in prop making, in my opinion. But yeah, just glue those together. You are gonna have to hide the seams between those parts, because otherwise those will show up. To do that, we just use some Bondo glazing and spot putty to fill in those gaps and to prepare it for sanding.
Yeah, and then to ensure that it is as strong as possible, often a lot of people will weld the parts together on the back side. That is using something like a soldering iron, and it's just melting, literally welding the two pieces together, and so that there's no seam. And you can even do that in the front if you really want to ensure that it is nice and strong.
Absolutely. Now we gotta get rid of most of the 3D print lines.
Yeah.
To do that, Margaret is going to use some UV reactive SLA resin.
Yeah, this stuff is really good to work with. It's really quick to apply, a nice smooth finish that's really sandable to bring it all the way back down.
So this, if you're unaware, is basically resin 3D printed, which is a different form completely than what these parts were printed in.
Yeah.
But when this resin reacts with UV light, it hardens. That means that we can brush it on all of the armor pieces, hit it with a UV light, and that will harden, which will give us something to sand away.
Right. If it isn't safe to do this in your own home, you don't need to. There are other methods of smoothing these prints.
Absolutely.
There is filler primer, a classic method.
We even use that on this build.
Yeah, is an easy way to ensure that you are adding enough material to bring back down just to fill in the space in between all of those layer lines. That's essentially what you're trying to do when you receive one of these kits.
Yep. If you're gonna do the SLA resin, make sure that you wear gloves and a respirator, because the stuff is gross. It's not its intended purpose.
Yeah.
It's for filling out FDM prints, but we can use it to great effect in our shop.
In fact, as you see, you can get a really nice smooth finish, like a metal finish on this just by using a couple layers of this method, sanding it back down using something like a mouse sander or just grit.
I took it outside and blasted it with the sand, with the mouse sander. I used like 120 grit.
Yeah, oh, that'll bring it right down real quick.
Pretty rough. It took me 30 minutes to do the first pass of sanding on the entire armor. Yeah, definitely recommend a mouse sander for large builds like this.
So in terms of order of operation, what comes after that? Once you've hit that with a 120 grit and brought that down, what do you then apply to it?
The process is very messy using the mouse sander. What I like to do in between stages is take it to the sink and give it a nice bubble bath.
Yeah.
Hit it with some soap and water.
Get that dust off.
That'll just clean all of the dust off. It will really show you what parts need filled. It'll wash away any dust that could be collected in the 3D print lines.
Right. And if you're applying anything like a spray paint, that is just keeping that dust on the surface. So you want to make sure that that's all off before you start your next part of your process.
Right. So after the sink wash, then I hit it with the filler primer.
Right.
Which is basically just the thick spray paint. That's going to do a couple things. It's going to fill in some of the 3D print lines because it is pretty thick spray paint.
And it'll settle down in those lines.
Second, it'll show us what spots still need work.
Yeah.
So we can do additional sanding on any spots that we still see, you know, those horizontal striation lines.
Right.
Or any other parts that need a lot more sanding.
After a few passes of that, that's when we hit it with, it's usually around a 400 grit wet sand just to sort of polish it off. And that's essentially just using a little bit of water on one of these surfaces and just polishing it smooth. You're not really going to take off much material. You're just going to make it nice and shiny.
That'll make it so much smoother and be a really great surface for painting.
Yeah. I came in.
Yeah. So how does the painting process start?
Well, it is the exact same process as this bad boy here, just across the entire armor set, which is you start off with a nice base layer of black primer. That is across the entire armor. You'll notice that within some of these areas, you actually keep the primer. So you're already off to the races with your first paint color. In total, it is 3 different paint colors.
That's
handy. It is the black, it is the charcoal metallic by Rust-Oleum, and it is the yellow ginger by Rust-Oleum.
Just like you.
Just like me, like jaundice. And that is it. It is the black. You use some masking tape to keep these black edges, make it look like, I don't know, it's like a rubber base or something. Then mask that off, spray in the center areas with the charcoal metallic, and then once that's nice and dry, and really make sure it's dry first because these metallics often stay a little bit tacky.
Yeah.
So mask that off, and that's when you get to just select your yellow piping lines.
Yeah, there's like 3 different paint schemes for this B-01 basic tactical default armor.
Yeah, we just went with the classic, the box art cover. And so when that's done, when you've applied your yellow ginger, that's when you need to do something that's very important for our method. Very important indeed. You need to seal this armor.
Yeah.
You need to apply a clear coat of some sort on this armor for our next step, which is applying an oil wash.
Right. We used a matte clear coat, didn't we?
Yeah, we used a matte clear coat. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you will be applying a top coat to this whole thing to give you the finish that you want.
Okay.
So all a oil wash is just some craft oil paint, specifically oil paint, mixed with some mineral spirits. And you can get these anywhere, absolutely anywhere. By applying that with a sponge, you are staining the surface. You're just applying some variants and some dirt and grime just wherever you want it, and it'll darken that metallic, make it a bit more, you know, closer to a metallic black, gunmetal, and then wipe it a little bit away at a time with some mineral spirits on a rag.
Okay.
And once that's dry, you've got some, you know, some nice variation of tone across the whole thing.
Dirt in the recessions.
Yeah, it's a super easy process. Anyone can do it at home, really easy. And all we have to do to finish this off is just apply a little bit of silver scratching. And there's plenty of methods to make it work. I just used a chrome by Army Painter or Vallejo, one of these brands. Just a sort of metallic or a white, just to hit the edges and dry brush some metallics just to make it look like this is real metal. It's a simple and effective job at replicating something that came from plastic to make it a little bit more metal.
Yeah, definitely. Like, looks great.
Honestly, that was it. Once this is all nice and dry, We hit the whole thing with a satin clear coat, just to add a little bit more reflectiveness back to it. Yeah, it'll make it, in any photos that we take, it'll really like pop on top of the more matte fabrics underneath.
Especially the metallics. They'll make those really shine in the light. You can see.
Oh yeah, it's real nice.
It's really popping off these lights.
And that's it. That's a large amount of my job on this process. It was a couple days to paint the entire armor set. Very little work for a lot of results. This kit is probably like 50-50 hard parts like this to soft parts like all this other stuff. When it comes to all the soft parts, we are now going to be introducing another person who led the entire push for all of the soft parts you see here today.
Ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Spear. Hi, Chris.
Hello.
What do you do here?
Oh, I'm in charge of soft goods here.
Yeah, you do a lot of our like clone commas, our leather stuff.
That's correct.
Anything soft is your domain, really.
Pretty much, yeah.
And there's a lot of soft parts to this kit. But first, the undersuit. The undersuit is a set of Army BDUs that I got off Amazon. Link will be in the description. It's a very basic kit. It's just kind of serves as the undersuit to all of these parts. I did go up one size. I got a double XL instead of an XL. That's because you want it to be pretty baggy. In the game, there's a lot of wrinkles like this between the arm joints and on the legs. So you want some extra bagginess, so I'd recommend going one size up. The first part that you worked on is kind of this kilt skirt.
Yeah, so basically it's kind of the bottom half. In-game, it's kind of a military jacket, if you will. But we went kind of the simple route and did kind of this little skirt setup, essentially. Essentially, we just took some of the leather or pleather that we had on hand and then had it, measured around about the mid-chest area kind of deal. And then we added an iron-on lining to get that edge trim the way that we wanted to there. Went on well with an iron. And the other thing that we had is that we have a strap that goes around like almost like a belt.
Yeah, it really goes like around here underneath my armor, and it ends just above the crotch, but it just folds it around me. It overlaps a little bit in the front.
Yes.
But it's real nice. It's nice and leather and looks and feels real good.
Yeah. And the advantage that we actually had with the BDU is that there was actually a piece of Velcro right in the front.
Right. There's lots of spaces for like patches and
and
stuff.
As part of the design, we said, okay, let's put a piece of Velcro to really kind of keep that in place, and then it can hit that spot consistently every time, which is nice.
Right. Now, Chris, let's talk about this waffle texture that's all over the armor.
Yes.
Most prominently on the shoulder piece.
Yes.
What kind of fabric is this, first of all?
So yeah, this is a cotton waffle fabric. It's sold at a bunch of different places. There's a couple different grades and types and everything. We got ours from Joann's, I believe.
I'll just leave a link in the description.
It's a very lightweight fabric, very stretchy, very flexible. Takes iron-on vinyl very well.
Yeah, so that's what the skull is, right?
Yes.
We cut that out on the silhouette.
Yes.
Right? That's like a cricket, basically. But just cut out the skull emblem and then you just ironed it on, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Basically what you do is you want a nice hard surface. Actually, you don't want to do this like on an ironing board or anything like that. And you'll take like a piece of butcher paper or something like that just as a in-between so that you don't scorch the final material. Iron that on for about 10-15 seconds kind of deal, and then lift up. It is pretty well adhered, which is great.
Yeah, and then you just use some spray adhesive, right, to actually stick the fabric to the shoulder plate.
Yes, we used basically Super 77, but any normal spray adhesive that works for fabrics, works for plastics, will work for this. Jamie and I actually in the shop, we stretched it over the material to give it a little bit of tautness, and then I carefully cut it to size with an X-Acto, and then we actually put this bit of foam lining around to kind of give that little texture as well as make it nice clean edges at the same time. So
luckily, this fabric matches a lot of other parts on the armor.
Yes.
So not only is it on the shoulders, the cape, which we'll talk about later, but it's also part of the forearms. I'm gonna take this off as an example. Ugh, that feels better. This fabric is just lined around some foam.
Yes.
Wrapped for the forearms. It's got like a little wristband connection, and then
Yes.
a connection around the forearms. So it's kind of a little bit weird. It's like that. But you just cut out some craft foam, overlaid this on top of it, cut it out to shape size.
Yep.
Gave it a little leather trim
Yeah.
on the outside.
And
it's super easy to apply. Like, I'll need Chris's help to put it back on.
Just a little bit of Velcro. And I gotta give Arrowhead props to this, actually. This wristband here in the front makes it really easy to both take on and take off and get things in place before you do the strapping and everything on the arm itself, because otherwise it's gonna slide all over the place. And it's kind of ingenious, actually, that they added that in. Yeah.
Some other parts. Okay. So, like, it's also around the thigh here.
Yeah.
So we've got foam underneath there. With
Yes.
The fabric on top. On the thighs, the forearms, anywhere else?
Abdomen section.
Yes. So, right around here, this is more foam with stitch lines.
And it's in the back at the moment as well, so it kind of is a mirror of itself in a way. So it might be tough to show that off with the setup, but there is some of the back as well. Yeah, no, it's all over the place, which is great, and it adds both padding to the armor. It kind of bulks you out a little bit. So
Yeah. I won't say no to that. There are also some buckles all around the armor. So these are like tactical buckles. They're the same ones we got for our ODST build, but they're pretty simple latching mechanism. But we got one on the shoulder bell here, and down around the thighs as well.
Yes.
That's where they connect to each other. Those will be linked in the description as well. And I've got like holes pre-modeled into the models for, I believe this is 1.5 inch strapping.
I believe so.
That'll fit right in there and make it look real good. And it'll help connect it to your body.
Absolutely.
We've got the cape.
Yes.
And you've been making a lot of these lately.
Absolutely.
They sold out in probably half an hour. Yeah, we're gonna do a lot more capes, do a lot more designs. Tell us about the cape.
Sure. So, really, actually, early on, and one of the first softs that I began looking at, but really was kind of the last thing I put together, was the cape. And something that I noticed right away, looking at screenshots in the game, was that it was kind of this. It wasn't this solid texture. It was kind of this waffly texture, basically. And I immediately thought of, man, this looks a lot like some of the various waffle fabrics I've seen out there. Let's see if we can grab ourselves some samples and everything and see what works. And it turned out great. And then we then figured out that the iron-on vinyl worked really well. One of the things I love about this stuff is that it actually shows the texture when you iron it on through the vinyl itself.
That's really important because that's the way it looks in the game.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then the second thing that we have with this, to give the cape a little bit of weight, we actually added some 10-ounce duck cloth, which is basically a fabric canvas for all intents and purposes.
Yep, and so that's an interior lining, like on my back, basically. That gave the cape a little bit more weight, which sounds counterintuitive if you want the cape blowing in the wind.
Yeah.
But having more weight to it means the cape waving is a lot more beautiful. It's not like just going nuts in the wind, folding over itself.
Yeah.
Coiling, wrapping up.
In our first test of this, we basically had it such that it was just the waffle fabric by itself, and it curled on itself.
You can even see through it.
Oh, yeah.
In certain lighting. So adding that duck cloth to the inside, the side that's touching my back, definitely changed the game a bit. Oh, look. Found my cape. You can kind of see duck cloth, waffle cloth. They blend together beautifully. Can't even tell they're different fabrics unless you look closely.
And then the last thing that we kind of added in as part of this process was an attachment system on the inside of the chest plate.
Right.
Quite simply, I just installed grommets on the tabs that go into the chest plate itself.
Right, got a little hole modeled.
Yep.
Right up here.
And Jamie actually modeled up these little clips that just are mounted at the inside, but ideally you can just take like a clasp and hook it into the grommet itself.
A little carabiner or something.
Yeah, exactly. And then it can, realistically, you can mount that in any such way that you want on the inside of the chest, and then, it's a really great system to kind of keep the cape in place.
Yeah, definitely. And we do sell the capes on our web store online.
Yep.
You can check the link. They might be sold out. They sell out real fast, but We want to do a lot more different designs.
Yes.
Like there's some yellow designs and yellow skulls, and the Malevolon cape creep would be pretty cool, actually, now that I think
That
about
would be
it.
really cool.
The last little thing, last little piece of the puzzle is my belt buckle here.
Yeah.
So this one is actually cold casted silver nickel. Use like some metal powder in it and cast it. We offer those in the shop as well online. Link will be in the description. But otherwise the belt around is just some leather.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Leather and Velcro. Holds it all together. I've got my nice belt buckle front and center. Doesn't actually hold anything up. It's just kind of around the waist.
Pretty much.
We got a nylon strap that goes around the waist that goes underneath everything that actually holds the thigh pieces up.
Yes, correct.
And like all the shins have lots of buckles in the backside, and
there's lots of strapping and buckles for sure.
Yeah.
Like you will feel very tactical with all this stuff for sure.
yeah. So let's give everything a try on quick and give a more in-depth look at how all of the pieces actually go onto my body. Okay, Chris, we're ready for the first try-on of the Helldiver armor. We got torso here, and we got a whole slew of parts over here. We're gonna run through the first trial test of putting it on. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So Chris, where are we gonna start?
We're gonna start with the legs. It's basically a bottom-up approach, very simple. So we're gonna start with the shins and the knees.
Let's give them a good look of the shins. So they are currently two parts that sandwiched together, fit pretty well. Got a whole bunch of elastic strapping on the back, some foam padded inserts, and a whole lot of buckles to keep it on. Now these are mirrored, so it doesn't really matter which side of the leg they go on. But Chris is gonna have to help me out here. He's gonna buckle me up.
That will still hold in place pretty well, even with two. And we'll do the other side here.
This is the less than glamorous side of cosplay. Just one man putting on another man's clothes. No big deal.
Next are the thigh plates, of course. So this is going to be right side. I've basically engineered it such that the front buckle here that we have, these are the tack buckles that are just purchased off of Amazon.
Yep.
Yeah, those are in the front, so or they face front. I actually have to loosen this a little bit.
Thick thighs.
And then we've added these loops here basically such that the belt can go through. And then we'll extend that belt obviously as well. Next is going to be the skirt. Now, what I've done when I've engineered this is that this is worn upper around the chest, and then the lower trim here kind of hangs around like crotch level, basically. Okay. And now basically to cinch it all together, we're gonna actually just tuck this right in place. I'll cut that to length later. Then we have the belt.
Oh, okay.
Which is basically, again, kind of this, thin leather material with a couple of pouches and showing off, of course, our resin buckles, basically, our casted resin buckles.
Jamie's telling me to pull up my skirt off camera.
Because we haven't sized this yet, I just put some Velcro in the back just to make that easy. And this kind of cinches around the...
Look around. Does it cover the buckle?
It actually is lower a little bit, so the armor covers this stuff here. So I'm just going to undo the back of the adhesive covering there, and we'll go about there, and that is cinched basically right in place.
Sweet. I'm gonna have to put some stuff in these pouches.
Yeah, lots of room in there for...
Put like a Dr. Pepper right in there.
And now we're gonna go ahead and throw on the armor top, which includes the chest, the back, the shoulders. We're actually gonna take off the shoulders for right now so they're not interfering with the setup here.
Okay.
And not having that fall. Okay, and we're gonna just go up and over. We might need to undo this one potentially. There we go. That gives us a little bit more maneuverability there.
Let me grab the mic.
I'm going to undo this side a little bit so it's not interfering with your head. There we go.
The birth of a Helldiver.
Next are the shoulders, and just like the thighs, we've made it such that the attack buckle is in the front. There are technically 2 of them on the inside in game. So, and we've also on the inside, we've incorporated not only Velcro, but also a little bit of foam padding such that it doesn't chip or scratch the armor.
Chip and shatter.
Exactly. And we'll probably add more and adjust strapping, of course.
Yeah, my arms aren't as big as I'd like them to be.
There we go. Perfect.
That's cool. And my cape.
And now we're gonna throw on gloves, and then it'll be the forearms, because those go over top of the gloves.
So these are just kind of like driving gloves. Nothing too warm or insulated that will kill me in the summer heat. And they just cinch at the wrist because we got a lot of forearm business going on.
Absolutely.
I don't think they need to be extended too long.
I don't think so, yeah, because these will go over the top of them. Yeah, so we have our main forearm plate here. On the left side, we have the tack pad, which we're gonna do some fun stuff later on with that. And then like with some of the other parts, we have the same kind of thematic arm padding in this case, which is gonna be quite comfy.
So we're on.
And the really easy way to do this is we do the wrist cuff first, which is just Velcroed in place. And then this is just Velcroed around like so, nice and snug. And you got your tack pad access. And then the other forearm goes on the same, just without the tack pad itself.
Yeah, really comfy that a lot of these parts are soft, and we separated out the models of the hard armor parts.
And of course, the pièce de résistance.
John Helldiver.
Welcome back, Jamie.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So we covered all the hard parts, all the soft parts.
Yeah.
We put it on. Now we just get to put it on whenever we want and do
You get to bask in it.
do dumb stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
Spread some democracy in
that's
it.
that's the question. What is this kit for other than just simply looking cool?
Oh, well, I'm trying to convince you to do up a whole squad and go to Dragon Con.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be pretty cool?
That'd be pretty cool, I guess.
Everyone bully him in the comments to do it.
You just want me to do that? What is that, like, whatever of the free?
Savior of the free.
Savior of the free.
The best helmet in the
with,
game.
With the bunny
The
ears
wings.
helmet.
Oh, glorious angel wings. Sorry.
Gross. Yeah, I'll think about it. Dragon Con
Everyone at
2024.
him.
But yeah, we recently had a photographer in, and you did a
Yeah.
whole photo shoot.
That's it. Yeah, we got some really good shots from that photo shoot. Yeah, David from Silk and Thorn Photography
Silk
came,
and Thorn, yeah,
came up
fantastic.
and had a big old backdrop. Did lots of cool action shots. Got the Liberator here from
Yeah.
Dungeons and Starships.
Yeah,
You printed
what a
that
file.
out. You printed that out and finished it in like a day.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
We wanted it in time for the photo shoot. We felt weird.
We finished the kit and we're like, oh, we forgot a weapon, didn't we?
Yeah, it's a pretty important part of Helldivers. Same with the stratagem ball, which we all saw at the start of the video.
Yeah, very rushed build.
But it came out fantastically.
Yeah.
One heck of a build.
I'm getting a little bit warm in here.
Yeah, it's a lot of moving parts.
But I hope this tutorial was informative for you all out there building your own Helldiver kits. It's a very complex kit, but very cool.
Very,
One of my
very
favorite
cool.
ones, just based on mobility. Like, I can put my arms fully down to the side. I am sitting down right now.
You're not
all
suffering?
comfy. It's a little bit warm, but I'm also wearing a
Yeah.
balaclava.
And we do not have AC in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll hopefully see you folks at Dragon Con 2024.
Yes, where we'll all be Helldivers.
and Aaron will be in this kit.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye.
Cheers.
Damn.
It's so damp it got cold.
Oh,
Time of me standing up
Keep
to
that
sitting
in.
back there. No.
keep
please
that
no.
in, please.